What's going on, y'all? Side Perspectives, giofvcks. And since we're talking about narcissistic abuse, relationships, especially in families, family settings, with parents and parental figures and the children, offspring, I think it's really important to bring up another red flag video. Here's a red flag. When somebody is a grown person, I mean, they are an adult. They are 18 plus, like they are well over the age of 18. They are adults. And they are still running around calling themselves daddy girls and mama boys. That's a red flag. You don't want a grown person, a grown adult. You know, they 20 plus years old, 30 plus years old, 40 plus years old, in their 50s, still sitting up talking about they mama boys and daddy girls. All of that is a huge red flag. And then now, you know, hindsight's 2020. When you know the situation, now that we're able to understand what enmeshment is, information about enmeshment is in the description box below. When we're able to understand mental health and how abuse impacts people's mental health, how they view themselves, how they view others, how they treat others, you start seeing these red flags, and they are loud. I mean, the red is intense. The flag has been waving for quite some time. All right. And when we talk about narcissistic relationships and abuse, we have to talk about the mama boy, the daddy girl. First of all, there's nothing normal about you being a mama's boy or a daddy's girl in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Y'all old as hell, still sitting up here trying to brag about being mama boys and daddy girls. And these are all red flags. All that really tells me is that you have an unhealthy relationship with your parent. You have a very dysfunctional enmeshment with your parent. A lot of these people, especially when we talk about narcissism, if you have a narcissistic mother, for example, and you're sitting up talking about you're a mama's boy, and you meet somebody like that, run for the hills. You'll notice, number one, their mother is the center of their universe. So again, the enmeshment, you know, their entire life is about pleasing mama. And that's not somebody that you want to be in a relationship with, because 9 times out of 10, their mother, or if they're a daddy's girl, their dad is literally going to be overly involved in y'all relationship. You might even notice that, well, my mama said this, my daddy said this. And don't get me wrong, it's completely understandable that, you know, people talk to their parents and have healthy relationships with their parents, but their parents shouldn't be dictating how they live, what they can wear, who they can hang out with, the relationship. That is not normal. And a lot of y'all sit up here and try to brag about being mama's boys and daddy's girls, and y'all are grown ass adults. That might have been cute and, you know, funny when you were 8 years old, 10 years old, 11, 12, 13 maybe. But at 25, 35, and you're still sitting up here talking about you're a mama's boy and a daddy's girl? No. That just lets us all know that you have a dysfunctional relationship with your parents. Your parents are too attached to you, and you are too attached to your parents. Again, you're supposed to be an adult and independent, and you still sitting up here talking about you a mama's boy, a daddy's girl. That ain't nothing but a red flag. I'm just here to say that's just a red flag. You know, a lot of us, now that we're old enough and we're able to see shit for what it is, you need to be able to spot these things, okay? Especially, you know, and I'm just going to say it. If you have a narcissistic parent, 9 times out of 10, depending on what role you fulfill, because a lot of times when people say they're mama's boys and daddy's girls, they're basically the golden child in the narcissistic household. They're the child that can do no wrong, right? So this person, 9 times out of 10, has never been held accountable. is potentially a narcissistic themselves because of how they were raised. Because let's be honest, narcissism breeds narcissism. It breeds toxic codependence. It breeds people who don't have boundaries. These are not emotionally healthy individuals. So this is why I say when you spot the mama's boy, the daddy's girl, you need to run for the hills, because that's just letting you know potential problems. Like, I'm here to tell you, as you get older, you have to start spotting the red flags right away, because you get older and nobody has time to waste 3 months, 6 months in a talking stage with someone who's abusive. Nobody has time to waste anymore. It's like the minute you spot these red flags, you need to start kicking people to the curb, because you're the one that's putting yourself in situations to be played after a while. Okay, so again, mama's boy, daddy girl, these people who have narcissistic, dysfunctional, enmeshed, over-controlling parents, again, they're probably the golden child, no responsibility, no accountability. Every time they have an issue, what are they doing? They're running back to mommy and daddy because mommy and daddy they've been trained. So literally their parents are more involved in y'all relationship than the person that you're dating. It's the wildest shit. So that's why I'm here to tell you, they have to go and get clearance from their parents to make decisions, because that's just it. There's such an unhealthy enmeshment. There's no independence. There's no backbone. There's no boundaries. You don't want to be talking or dating these types of people. I'm just here to tell you that. Like, you just don't. Another thing that I've noticed about people, especially like men who have narcissistic mothers, and period, women who have narcissistic mothers or narcissistic fathers, or men who have narcissistic fathers, parents, is, they're forever on their parents, like the golden child in many cases. Well, narcissistic parents do this with all their kids, but they make their children basically, they emphasize them, right? So like, that person might be 25, 35, 45, but their mindset is still very much in the mindset of a child. You notice these people and then that's another thing, all of the fakeness that you witness and experience with these types of people. They might have this persona that they're getting money and they're successful and they've got all their ducks in a row, but quiet as it's kept, mommy and daddy are the ones pulling the strings here. It's not because they work so hard and they're so independent and successful. It's because they're the golden child. Mommy and daddy are still paying for them to live somewhere. You'd be surprised. These people haven't paid rent, don't pay mortgage. Again, they don't have any real responsibilities because mommy and daddy are controlling everything. This is why I always say, you don't want to be talking to a mama's boy or a daddy's girl, okay? You don't. Leave their asses over there with that dysfunctional enmeshment. Because a lot of these people, even the people that have the dads and the moms tend to have mommy and daddy issues, despite the fact that they had their parents. But that's because just because you have a mom and dad doesn't mean you're going to have a healthy life, especially if they're dysfunctional, abusive, toxic. Okay? Another thing about these types of relationships, the relationships are very dysfunctional. Like, it's almost like the parent has made the child their surrogate significant other. Like, when you look at how some of these mothers treat their sons, how some of these fathers treat their daughters, it's very inappropriate. Like, it's borderline ancestral when you really look at how these people interact with their parents and their children. Again, these narcissistic mothers will make their sons into their significant others damn near. Like, that's supposed to be their partner. They're treating their son like that's their husband or their boyfriend. They're treating their daughter like that's their wife or their girlfriend. Their significant other. It's very odd. Like I said, very ancestral. All right? Doesn't make any sense. And like I said, oh, he's got a car, he's got a house, she's got her own blah, blah, blah. And come to find out, mommy and daddy are still paying the bill here. Okay, like I have family members right now who are sitting up making it seem like they are living it up. Meanwhile, you're in mom's house. The only reason why you have what you have is because of mommy and daddy. You were to feel me, you are not standing on your own 2 feet. And then you're sitting up here in true narcissistic fashion, living this whole facade, like I said, on some Academy Award winning acting out of this world, because everything is about image and persona, no matter how fake and phony and full of shit that it may be. Another thing that's just strange with this is that again, you just don't want to date people like this. I'm going to do more videos discussing how you don't really want, in my opinion, you don't want matriarchy, you don't want patriarchy, you don't want one gender controlling the show of everything, period. You don't want that. Because what ends up happening, as we are seeing, especially if you're dealing with toxic individuals, that toxic person is now controlling the show. Hence why matriarchy and patriarchy ends up being toxic and detrimental to everybody involved. Anyways, stay away from mama boys, daddy's girls. Those are red flags. Information will be in the description box below on enmeshment, narcissistic parenting, how you can find a therapist, and I'm out.